back to Women Making Moves, where we celebrate the moves that women are making. My name is Amy Pons, founder of Unlock the Magic Coaching and Healing. I'm joined today with Superintendent Tiffany Gilmore. Mrs. Tiffany Gilmore is a visionary educator, entrepreneur, and equity advocate. As the founder, CEO, and superintendent of Garvey Allen Academy, a tuition-free charter school empowering Black students, she's on a mission to close opportunity gaps and transform education. With nearly 20 years of leadership in education, she has pioneered equity-driven initiatives that have significantly reduced disciplinary disparities and enhanced culturally inclusive curricula. A proud Compton and Carson native, Mrs. Gilmore's academic journey spans Cal State, Dominguez Hills, Pepperdine University, and National University with doctoral studies at Grand Canyon University. Her motto, "I open schools to close prisons," reflects her unwavering commitment to dismantling systemic barriers. Beyond her work as superintendent, she leads the DOPE Educator, which is delivering on promises of equity, and Educated Threads, initiatives designed to foster mentorship and systemic change. A mother of three and dedicated partner, Mrs. Gilmore is reshaping the future of education, one student, one school, and one revolution at a time. Superintendent Gilmore, welcome.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you for having me.
Wow.
A mouthful, huh? I'm sorry.
Oh, no need to be sorry. I'm always in awe. Bio. It seems like I used to, when I was in corporate America, it was like, oh, I do this at this. It was
Right.
Now I'm like, wait, which chapter and which lifetime and which?
Yes, Amy. Yes. Which chapter are we on? Which book are we on?
Yes. So I'm like, I don't know. Today, I'm almost in my lateral luteal phase of my cycle. And so I don't feel like so awesome.
Yes.
My estrogen and progesterone are starting to.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, I meet myself where I am and we go from there. So if you asked me to write a bio today,
What would you say, Amy?
I would say, I'm a stay-at-home dog mom that doesn't want a human.
I love that. That's called self-care.
Yeah.
You can have those boundaries.
Thank you.
You are allowed.
Really, honestly, today it would be like I'm podcast editor because I love having this conversation with you. But it's nice. It's a nice day where I just have more, I guess, quote unquote, downtime where I can get into some more tactical editing.
Right.
So today I'm a podcast editor.
Yes. Well, we're on the same page. Like you said, it's the spring equinox and it's kind of like, I know I should be blossoming and ready, but I too kind of felt like that when I woke up, like, I don't really want to people today, but we're allowed, I don't know. It seems as though society tells us as women that we just always have to be on ready, set, go. And I think our generation is like, no, we've seen that in our moms and grandmothers and aunts, and it really didn't pan out that well for them. So we're going to take this and say, I'm going to choose me today. So choose you, Amy.
Thank you. Thanks,
Yes.
Superintendent Gilmore. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I love the way you just put that because it's like not suggesting that women can't do anything they want to. Of course you can. And sometimes it takes each other to be like, don't change on my account, like do whatever, move the way you want to. Sometimes it helps to have that other woman, other human to say like, it's okay. Like, don't show out if you don't want to. It's fine.
Right. It reminds me of last week, Amy. I was just feeling just really overwhelmed. It's like that time of the school year where testing season is coming and it's high stakes, especially for us as charter schools. And then you have to prepare for next year. So enrollment targets, and we just moved into a new facility. So it's like, now let's move into phase 2. So I just really felt almost like an elephant was just kind of sitting on my chest. And I cried. And I think I was more upset at myself that I'm still not used to the level of stress. And I said that to my best friend, and she's like, why would it be okay for you to be okay with this level of stress? And it made me cry more. Like, I just felt really guilty that I'm not handling this stress right now. And you know, girl, that this comes every year like clockwork. But she just reminded me, like you said, it kind of takes other women sometimes to see our own selves,
Mm.
and it's really important to surround ourselves with those types of people. So it's going to be a great conversation. I can already tell. I
I
love
know.
it.
I wish we were closer. And especially when in this time and place that
Hmm.
we are in this world,
Yeah.
the day to day, like I heard you say that you're not managing this year the way, but also, and oh,
Go
this,
ahead, Amy.
this time and place when
Yeah.
ooh, there's so much going on outside of us. I read a lot about this on my newsletter, The Lighthouse.
Hmm.
Finding your light every day is
Hmm.
sometimes hard, and sometimes you don't find it right away or at
Yeah.
all. And never feeling beholden to having to, but
Hmm.
also
Hmm.
trusting that it's always there, even if you can't see it or find it like right on demand, because there's so much outside of us that's like,
Where are we right now?
what is actually going on?
Yes. Yes. And I just constantly feel like I can't keep up with the goings on. Like my husband will be like, "Did you hear about A, B, and C?" And I'm like, "No, I'm still on X, Y, and Z. Like, when did that happen?" And it's so many things, though, Amy, that either affect us as women,
Mhm.
affect our children, our future children. It's just a really heavy time.
Mhm. Yeah,
And I don't think any of us can really articulate it. It just feels very stifling right now.
Mhm.
Maybe that's the word.
Yeah. I'm very, very careful about what I consume because I also understand that the goal is to overwhelm our
Yeah.
human selves. And so it's like, okay,
Hmm.
let me see where I can meet myself. So if I'm feeling real spicy one day, I might go hard on the advocacy or warrior part of me.
Yes, girl.
The healer part of me will take a step back and say, I'm gonna go rest. And I'm like, okay, warrior, step up.
Hmm.
And, and that's where I always encourage everyone. There's a lot of judgment on if someone isn't standing up every single day. Y'all, you don't have to. Who's saying you have to?
Right.
Just trust yourself first. If it's a day where you're like, I'm gonna pull these covers right back over my face, great,
Hmm.
great. Let that be enough.
Hmm. And we always talk about self care. Self care is like the buzzword right now. And I think sometimes we think self care is going to the spa or getting
Mhm.
your nails done. But self care is just what you said, Amy. Like, I don't really feel like it today. And being okay with choosing to not be okay.
That's it.
That's self care. That's your boundaries. And I think that we're showing little girls that look up to us a different way. And hopefully, through our, what could you call it, our renaissance of
Ah,
becoming, right?
yes.
That we can slowly see this shift in little girls and young women and women who are going to be amazing people who continue our missions, right? Because I really think that in society, we see all of the negativity, but there's more people like me and you than the world gets to see. And
Right.
it's so unfortunate because our kids consume so much negativity instead of shows like yours, missions like mine, but we're going to change it together. So,
We are. I feel we're the first generation that realized I don't want to be nice and polite today. Who said I had to be? And by the way,
right.
that doesn't mean you're rude.
Nasty and rude. Yeah.
Right. Like it's the whole vibe of like if I don't feel like going to hug a family member or a family friend, don't make me. If I don't want to play with the other kids, don't make me. I feel, again, we're the first generation. For me, I'll speak for myself. When I turned 40, I was like, unsubscribe. And
Yes.
and,
Yeah.
and along with that, I'm not going to say it's easy because it involved a lot of me releasing people, places, and things around me that were still forcing, and I'm like, mm-mm, that doesn't
Mm-mm.
that doesn't feel good anymore. And I'm going to allow for that to
Right.
be released. Nothing dramatic had to happen. It's just like,
No, I'm subscribing, and I don't need to make an announcement. We don't need to have the conversation. I don't need to tell you the why, right?
right.
I can relate to that. 40 just does something to you. It's indescribable. Like food choices, health, wealth, wellness. It's just kind of like, oh, I can never go back,
Uh-uh.
right? I got another 40, 50 years that I have on this world, in this world, and I need to do things differently. And I think 40 allows us to say, I'm choosing me.
Mm.
And especially as women in corporate America, entrepreneurs, for so long, it's just been about career. It's been about our pursuit to break the glass ceiling. We were raised to believe, and I believe, that we can do all things.
Yeah.
But let's be real, it's exhausting and taxing.
Yeah.
It really is. I
Yeah.
come from a single parent household. My mother raised me, and my grandparents, my grandmother, she was an entrepreneur. She was the first entrepreneur that I seen. And you're talking someone in the 80s and 90s that was a stay at home mom, and people looked down upon her. But what they didn't realize is, like, she was a real estate agent. She was a caterer. She opened her own flower business and her own daycare, right? But they always minimized her as, oh, you're just a stay at home mom. And it's like, no, like it takes a lot to do what us as women do, and we can choose our own paths.
Mhm.
Doesn't have to be, tradition. So,
I mean, anymore, I opened my business 2 years ago, and
mhm.
I love that you had that experience because I'm the very first entrepreneur in my whole family set. I don't know one
Wow.
person. So I didn't know. Genuinely, it's like you go to college and you go get a job. Okay, well, I did that.
Hmm.
And I did that for 20 years. And
Hmm.
then I was like, I don't want to be X at X.
Yeah.
And that's why when you ask me, like, what are you today?
Hmm.
And having that fluidity. Now, again, on paper, I have certifications, I have 20 years
Yeah.
experience, I have all these things. But like on the soul plane, I'm a healer and a warrior. That's how I feel differently
Mm.
every day.
Oh, I love that. You said on the soul plane.
Mhm.
Oh, that's good. That's rich.
When I turned 40, I
Hmm.
remembered that I wasn't a human having a spiritual experience. I was a soul spirit having a human experience.
Oh, Amy dropping juice today. Yes.
It's like, oh,
Yes.
oh. And I had forgotten for a long time. So stepping back into that, and
Mhm.
I didn't know why my corporate job felt so pinchy until I did. And literally the morning after I turned 40, I
Mhm.
got vertigo. The bottom dropped
Mm.
out, like
Mm.
genuinely. And I was like, okay. And whenever I get downloads or upgrades now, like I get a touch of vertigo. So I know when my guides are
Mm.
working with me.
Isn't it beautiful to be in touch with
Mhm.
your spiritual self? If you're like me, you're probably an empath,
Mhm.
and you do have to, like, I can't people today
Yes.
because everyone has attached to me.
Right.
All of the energies, all of the vibrations, right? Yeah,
Oh, you get it.
I
And
get it.
when I tell someone, I'm like, no, I can feel what you feel. They're like, I don't understand. I'm like, right. So it's fine. And
Yeah,
let me take care of myself. So
there you go.
that's why I kind of love my luteal phase too, because my filter starts
Mhm.
to like really diminish. Not that I have a big one, but
Mhm.
I'm just aware of it more.
Yeah,
You touched on your mission. Have you known this your entire life?
always the dream.
Okay.
I would play with my dolls and my stuffed animals and be the teacher, even though some teachers would call me bossy, but I took that bossiness, and I'm an only child. So I would play with them. I would give them little name tags and line them up like in their seating chart, right? Like I really emulated those teachers that I had. And, my story is a little different because I've had more teachers that motivated me, encouraged me, looked like me, even administrators than not. And I think that for some reason, it was just pressed upon me. My purpose was to become a teacher, and I wanted to be a principal. Like, I have to have my own school. And so it seems as though the mission has always been this. However, our spiritual world also will tell you, like, if you think you know what I want you to do, I'm laughing at you because this is actually what I was preparing you for. Like, I didn't know that I was going to have my own school, that I would have to paint and install, the toilet tissue holders and choose flooring. No, I just wanted to be a principal. And it was like, yeah, no, this is deeper than you know. I don't want you to work for other people. I did that for a little while. So I did go mainstream, and I was a teacher, actually 6 through 12. I've taught all those grades. I was an administrator, but it never felt like I was fulfilled, Amy. And I was always like the enforcer. So I would get all the bad kids. I would be asked to talk to all of the unruly parents. I'm the administrator that goes into the schools and transform them and get them back on track with their behavior management systems. And it was really taxing being the hammer. And I'm like, I don't really think this is my purpose. One of my babies comes to mind. I was working with him for quite some time just to kind of get him to see that he had a better future than what he saw for himself. Just generationally, he just didn't see excellence. And so he was a product of his environment. I had got him to a really good place, and the walkie goes off and it's like, Gilmore, we need you in room 202. And I'm running because the way they sounded, it was so bad. And I show up and this baby is like losing it on the teachers. He's throwing things. And he saw me and he just ran to me, and I just held him and he cried. But he in the process of him losing himself, he hurt some people in the class. And Amy, I had to be the one to call the police on him, and to see him be taken away in handcuffs. I had enough. I left work early. I waited for my husband to get home. And I just cried in his arms, because how can I be this equity warrior? How can I advocate for Black and brown babies and historically disenfranchised children, but be the one to call the police on them when I know he didn't really mean to do that, but there had to be consequences. And we talked about that. It has to be consequences for your actions, baby. And sometimes those consequences are very hurtful and they're life altering. And it was from that point where I said, I'm going to go back to opening my own school, because I had started writing it, and working on the petition. The petition is what it's called to get your school approved. But because they promoted me to an admin, dangling the carrots in front of you to kind of get you off task of what your driven or God-given purpose really is, Amy, I'm like, no, that was his sign that he gave me to pivot and get back on track. So I applied for a grant with a venture fund company, and thankfully I got it. And their tagline is, leave your job to open your dream school.
Wow.
So I did just that. That incident happened in late 2017. Come February 2018, I resigned and I started what we now know as Garvey Allen STEAM Academy.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did that first petition say?
The first petition was K through 12. Give them all to me. I want the middle school, the high school, the elementary. Yeah, and it was like, no, we're not giving you that. Sorry. but it allowed me to scale back a bit. I was introduced to some amazing women who helped me really like take this broad vision and make it very specific, or it's almost like having a niche, right? Like in charter school world, you have to have a specific niche that you want your students to learn, your teachers to master. So the first one was very broad, and I learned the hard way. It took me 3 no's before I finally got approved on the fourth time unanimously in 2019. We got approved April 2019. We opened August 2019 and then had to close because of COVID come February 2020. So life has been life in Amy. Okay.
There was no remote option. You just closed.
We closed and I created this really robust online program for our achievers. We call our students achievers. And we grew enrollment because parents were looking for a quality, rigorous, all day long type of online environment. And I'm just really in tune with STEM and technology. So it was just right up my alley to create a school online. The kids still showed up in uniform because we wear uniforms, they had to be on camera. It was from 8 to 3. They got a lunch period. We played music while the kids were eating lunch. If your kids weren't on camera, I had staff on standby to call like, hey, your baby's not on camera. I know you're next door in your room working remote. We don't mean to bother you, but can you tell Jimmy to get on? So, we still were able to sustain remotely and come back with measures in place of distance. And I've just been really fortunate, and our dream team is what I call our staff, because they are a dream come true. They really believe in my mission and vision. They've been in the trenches with me, and they really made Garvey Allen what we know it to be today, because they were unwavering even in the face of COVID. And while a lot of people were laying off employees, I said no. Like, my heart of hearts, my moral compass would not allow me to not keep on my entire staff during that time. So in turn, they did the work, and I am very proud of them. I'm proud of us because we've come so far. We started with 112 kids. We're now at 215 kids. So it's just a slow progression. I never created this to be like 1,000 kids, right? Our mission is for historically disenfranchised babies, and they come to us with all of the miseducation from the traditional public system. And it takes a very small family-like environment to move the needle to get them to be on grade level. So I intentionally keep it small. A lot of people don't like that, who want to like give to us or fund us, because it's like, oh, well, you're not really going to bring a lot of money in doing that. But I don't look at my babies as dollar signs, Amy. We don't do this for the money. It's not enough money to do what we do. We do this for them, and they deserve, no matter what their background or zip code or culture they come from, they deserve the very best education. And there's too many of us that believe in that don't have a platform. So I always say everyone attached to me wins, and
Yes.
I'm 5'2", I'm a millennial, but I put everybody on my back, and I'm like, let's go, guys, So I've been very fortunate to open an academy that is answering the call.
Yes. We're in the making and creation of a new way of existing. And money is just part of the story. A lot of women I serve that have stepped out of the mainstream for any reason, or blazing their own trail, or in this place and time where people have kind of let me speak in energetic terms as I'm an energy coach. I feel that we're creating the balance between divine masculine and divine feminine that we've never seen before.
Mm,
And we've only been laser focused in the masculine, which is action structure, which is awesome. But also, when
mm,
imbalanced, it creates a structure where there's only care about the
mhm,
material, not the humanity or the flow or the creation. So
mhm,
as we move forward and people like you and me are understanding that need for the balance, I love that you are specifically on the forefront of welcoming in Gen Alpha, Gen Z, or they came out ready for this balance, and that's
yes.
awesome. And I love that you're being able to just receive them in a way that makes sense to them because with respect, some of the older generations, they're not quite sure what to do with like Alpha and Z.
Right. They barely knew what to do with us, right?
I'm like, well, you didn't really know with us either, but we figured it out later.
Yeah.
Um, One of the things that I saw from an education standpoint that really kind of freaked me out, I remember what my middle school textbook looked like. And
Hmm.
a teacher in my hometown posted about the fact that it was the same cover, but there was a reprint and it had been scrubbed, obviously. That's horrifying. I don't even know, like, it's almost like you have to write your own books, textbooks. Is that where it's going?
Yeah. Yeah.
It just freaked me out because at face value it looked like the same book, and then she specifically had her original one from when we were in school, and even when I was taught a lot of it
Hmm.
had been removed, and
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
that's really scary for when it's like not even written down anywhere. And we've seen this, things diminishing from websites. It's like, how do we keep this source of truth, actual truth?
Man, I think that is the $1 million
Mhm.
question. Every summer, I spend the summer just scouring the earth for the best curriculum where all my
Mhm.
babies are represented. We're a melting pot here. I have all of the whole rainbow. And,
Mhm.
while our mission is Black and brown babies, I have all of my babies and I want all of them to see themselves in the pictures in the books.
Yeah.
I want them to walk the halls and be able to say, hey, that little girl looks like me. And a lot of times it means we have to create our own. So, like here in the state of California, we have standard textbooks that are adopted, but I empower my achievement guides. That's what we call our teachers. I empower them to bring in other resources because it is so watered down, the approved curriculum. Like you said, even when we were growing up, it seemed as though it was missing. And the question becomes, it's like, was it scrubbed or was it never even there? Right?
Yeah.
It seemed like at a point in time we were on the right trajectory of like understanding inclusion and understanding diversity, allowing students to see themselves, and we've somehow gone back so many years. And I really think it's out of fear. And I think parents have to get more involved in knowing what's inside of these books, knowing who's standing in front of your children, and teaching them things that may not align with your household. And
Mhm.
that's hard
Yeah.
because we all have different perspectives. But how do we prepare these little people to leave these four walls to go and inherit the earth so that they can take care of me and you?
Mm.
Right? They have to learn about disabilities. They have to learn about being othered. It's the inevitable. And so I think that we've come to a place in our society that we can't just depend on the school because all schools aren't created equal. And we're going to have to be very mindful what our kids consume
Mhm.
and really direct them accordingly. My house, even here at the school, we're multi-generational. You have your baby boomers, you have
Mhm.
your Xers, millennials. My oldest daughter is Gen Z, the youngest Gen Z. Then you have your alphas. And it's so robust of all of these different perspectives. And I love it because they keep me on my toes because, they're the why generation. Well, why is it like this? And why is the Department of Education closing? And why can't we talk about being Black and proud, mom? Like, they want to know.
I love that. It's inspired me to understand more about my Scottish and British roots because, like, there's something ancestral in the bloodline that happens when you step onto your land. And honestly, from again, a spiritual plane, it's Gaia, it's Mother Earth. She's going to restore no matter what all of us do. So,
yes, speak on it.
to your point, it's like, how do you introduce all of that in a way
Mm-hmm.
that's digestible for tiny humans, but also that could be indirect, I don't know, contradictory to a household belief? So,
Yeah, because some kids are like, well, my mom says this, but I know it's this.
mm,
So you're like, damn it. Which way do I go? Do I support the parent or do I give this baby the truth? It is.
and these babies are closer to the veil than we are. They just came from spirit, like closer than we did. So, like,
Boom.
let them teach us. Like,
Yes.
tell me about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's why they love TikTok so much because they have a voice.
yeah.
It gives them a platform. Instagram is more like for us and entrepreneurs and
I moved everything off of Meta. It just didn't feel good.
yes.
So I actually don't anymore on any of that.
Good
Um,
for you.
I'm mindful of my consumption
Mm-hmm.
through my ears, my eyes,
Yeah.
my belly, my mouth. And
Mm-hmm.
and so I get to choose. It's not ever ignoring all that's happening and unfolding because I also do trust larger, like on 5D level, that everything's unfolding as it will. And
Yeah.
I can also feel empathy for humanity while I
Mm-hmm.
create the existence like you do of
Ooh,
what we all deserve. So,
I love that.
mm, what are you excited about right now? What's coming up for you?
I'm excited that initially we were approved to be a middle school, so we had 5 through 8, but we now have welcomed our first class of kindergartners and first graders. And they have brought so much light, love, and energy into this building. It's just so refreshing. So I'm excited that we will become a K-8 school this upcoming school year and be able to start at the foundation with innovation, with identity, with teaching them tolerance and cultural awareness from the very beginning, because we've been spinning our wheels at redefining what a student is for these babies that come in at the middle school level. So it's just really exciting to see that we'll be able to make an impact at the very start of these children's K-12 journeys. We've moved from a building to a campus. Our last building was 12,000 square feet. We're now on 36,000 square feet. And we have 2 fields, so the kids have outdoor play. We take their phones away. So I love to see them playing hopscotch and races, jump rope, double dutch, like the things we grew up doing because we didn't have technology at school. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm just really excited to see how we grow and how we're able to touch more and spread our impact more. I'm feverishly ready to just take on so many more kids because I know they need a safe place.
I love that you're able to start with kindergarten because I imagine, to your
Mm-hmm.
point, I know how much I'm unlearning
Mm-hmm.
over the past 2 years, especially.
Yeah.
So it's like both figuring out how to help them unlearn or re-navigate or rechart and also like, hey, what do you believe in your soul to be true? What do
Yeah.
you feel? I almost made this post the other day, and you as an administrator and educator are probably like, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, Did it start in kindergarten when somebody told me that I couldn't speak unless I raised my hand?
Mm.
And I'm like, ooh, teachers are gonna hate me for this. Because how much chaos would it be if everybody, I get it.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
And it's like the chaos is sometimes so gorgeous. And again, I don't want to speak for a teacher. They're like, Amy, do not put that out there that like you should just have everybody screaming in a classroom. I was like, well, it's not that deep. I don't want to post about it, like, because I've never taught a class. And so,
Yeah,
but do you kind of
I
understand
get
the
that
thread?
though.
It's like you can't talk unless you raise your hand. It's like, ooh, who said?
Absolutely. Right. I think that there's room for both to exist at the same time. Like when I was an English teacher, I ran my room kind of like you mentioned. I taught them habits of discussion, right? Like,
Ooh, ooh.
I agree with what Amy said, but I would also like to add, right? Well, I respectfully disagree because, right? And so, again, teachers, here we go. We are beyond just what's in the book, right? We have to teach them character development, habits of discussion, how to coexist with others. Once you get all of that in order, now we can open the book, right?
Oh, what if there was no book?
What if there was no book?
Oh, I love your habits of discussion.
Yes.
There's not one line of thinking that we all must drill into our heads. And
There's not.
that's what I was learned upon. So again, I've been joyfully unlearning everything. Even with
Yeah.
my husband, I'm like, who said? Who said I
Right.
can't do that? Who said I
Mm-hmm.
can't wear a hoodie to a nice restaurant? That's a whole nother conversation. But
Or tennis
um,
shoes with my dress.
right. Who said I can't have pockets? Could like trace
Well,
all of this.
high heels, right?
Right? I love so much what you're doing and all of your team that it's like we can all have a unique thought. Out of 27 people, let's hope that we have 27 different perspectives. That's amazing. That's gorgeous.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
gorgeous. And then you can still have some sort of semblance of, okay, and, you know,
Mm-hmm. Right.
there's facts and non-facts, but dare have the audacity to have a habit of discussion to your point. Mm.
Yes. Yes. And something as simple as what's been the hotbed this year is the kids hate having to line up. So we're in middle school. Why do we have to line up? Why are we on the line? And we're going to high school, right? So the first trimester, we have 3 trimesters. So the first trimester here is very structured. It's very preparing you for life beyond this campus, especially our 8th graders who are going to leave the 200 kids that they're used to being around and potentially go to a high school with 2,000 kids, right? So the perspective has to change. We have to show you these norms, these societal norms, right? So first trimester is all of that. And I tell parents when they come home, they're going to hate it. They're going to tell you they hate it. Please believe them, but please give me a chance because what we're doing is taking our first 90 days to unlearn all of the wrong things or teach them the things no one has had time or care to teach them. Now, trimester 2, they're in love because they no longer have to be in line. Well, guess what? What happens though, like today, we said, okay, everybody has to get in line. It's Fun Day Thursday, and you have to line up for the room you want to go have fun in. You have 10 seconds, and we counted down. And wouldn't you know, they all got in a line. So I just stood there like, I guess you had to learn how to get in line, right? So it's a balance, like both can exist because guess what, babies, right? Like while you don't understand why you have to be in line, you're going to have to get a driver's license one day. And guess what? That DMV line is vicious. And if you cut someone, there may be a very big issue, right? These are just these little things that you feel are very unnecessary right now, but we just want to prepare you for real life. because we're not at a point where we all agree to disagree right now. And whoever the person is that created these rules that we all follow as adults, you have to learn how to navigate those. So,
But you're right. It's the balance always. So, because I'm like in that mode where I'm like, I don't want to stand in a line. And
yeah.
I love what you said, though. It's like naturally, it's helpful
Mm-hmm.
for humans not to fall in line, quote unquote, and
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
society to be able to move with ease, which
Yeah.
really helps us individually to move at ease, it
Mm-hmm.
may behoove us to get in a line to wait our turn.
Right.
So for me, I was only told to fall in line. I was never given like a why or like help me understand to where I'm now like in my feelings about it. And I'm like, I don't want to get in line. I like
Mm-hmm.
having that regression a little bit. So it just gets to be and I love that you're allowing for that room, that space.
Yeah. And, I created Garvey Allen in my sixth, seventh, and eighth grade classroom when I was a teacher. And I let the kids tell me because I was the class all the kids came to. I was that teacher at lunch, before school, after school. So I said, if y'all going to be in here, y'all going to help me make this school. Okay. So what would you like to see? How would you like your electives to be? What do you want to learn? So all around here is student voice. And it's very important for them to have a voice because this isn't my school. This is their school. This isn't your teacher's school. This is your school. So you have to be represented in that. And it's a shift for adults who come in here too, right? Because it's like, oh, wait, you guys let kids have a voice? Yeah, we do. Teach them how to have a voice. What's wrong with that? They're humans having a human experience just like us, and regardless of their age, they should be able to articulate for us how they're feeling, even if it hurts our feelings as the adult. And so, what's the solution? Do we get in our feelings and stifle these children who need to learn to have a voice? Or do we take a step back out of our own selfishness, adultness, and just listen?
Mhm.
Why do we get to this age where we feel like we don't have to listen? When we were all kids before, we wanted to be heard, right? And so I think adults forget, especially in the school space, that they were once children. I think administrators forget they were once teachers. And I just want people to like really take on education in a way that we've never looked at it before. Garvey Allen is this educational renaissance. We really try to do everything opposite of the traditional system. Because listen, it hasn't worked, right? Like madness is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. So why should we still call our kids students? We call them achievers.
Is there an age limit? I want to come there.
Come on, Amy, let's go. Let's do some work.
I'm an elder millennial, and the reason my business exists, Unlock the Magic, is
Mhm.
that our magic or our unique brilliance, our unique soul, we're a bunch of kids running around as
Mhm.
adults because no one was able to attune to them to help them feel that unique brilliance, that magic. So
Mhm.
now I'm on the front lines helping adults remember their magic. And sometimes that involves talking about things that might seem scary and it might mean adulting differently. And that could seem scary and jarring at a certain age. So may Unlock the Magic not have to exist in a world where Superintendent Gilmore's kids grow up.
Yes. Yes.
This has gone so fast. As we start to wind down, in the spirit of love and light and everyone getting a voice and perspective, what would
Mhm.
you say to those educators out in the world who feel more inclined to do the copy paste that we've always done?
Mhm.
And also, what would you say for the people that actually want to move away from the copy paste, but really don't feel like there's an inroad maybe in their direct environment district world that they can?
Right. For those who feel compelled to just continue with status quo of copy and paste, think about your own children and what type of classroom you would want them to experience. If your classroom would not be conducive to your own children, it shouldn't be something you provide other kids. As educators, so many of us have school-age children, and a lot of us do not send our kids to the schools we work in. That tells you a lot. And so if you're working in a place that isn't good enough for your child, you have to take a step back and be the solution and say, while this whole school may not be suitable for my child, I'm going to take my island. I call the classroom your own island, and I am going to make it this utopia of learning and take a stand for these innocent babies who didn't ask to be here and who cannot make decisions on their own, and give them a rich experience. There's so much out there for educators to lean on. You're talking teacher pay teachers and ChatGPT and YouTube. Like, there's no reason to not bring the magic or unlock the magic in your classroom. That shouldn't even be, right? For those educators who are ready and like, okay, what can I do? I would say continue being the solution. Start your own worksheet company and create curricula that you want to have spread. At the Dope Educator, we teach educators how to open their own schools and reimagine schools. So find your tribe and not to be afraid. I think as educators, we get very afraid of ruffling feathers, but you ruffle feathers for kids who can't themselves. So at some point, you have to be a champion for these little humans who we're going to look to take care of us one day. So I would just say to all educators, whether they're in the classroom or leading their schools, reimagine what education looks like. Take a step back and say, what we've been doing has not been working, and it's okay to say that. And then not only gripe about it or complain about it, do something about it. Be so brave, be so bold, take it so personal that you take a stand for these children. We have to get out of our way. I tell people all the time, education, it's not the kids that's the problem. It's the adults. And we oftentimes ruin a kid's educational experience because we bring our own point of views into things that don't really belong. We have to give these children a quality education, no matter their background, no matter how much money their parents make, no matter what their residency status is. All children deserve a fair chance at learning and to be given an equal playing field to be successful.
Where can we find you and support your work?
You can find me on Instagram at official dope educator. You can follow Garvey Allen's journey on Instagram at Garvey Allen Academy. You can also find us at www.garveyallen.com. We are always taking donations to create this reimagined learning institution, and we definitely need supporters and those that believe in doing what's best for kids.
Closing remarks as we wrap up.
I think I would leave your listeners with, be bold enough to support those who build schools, build your own schools, disrupt systems, be productive disruptors. not agents of chaos, and create solutions. We've gone beyond just complaining. It's time for us to be the solution and create solutions to change the world into what we all know it needs to be.
Thank you, Superintendent Gilmore.
Thank you, Amy. It's been a pleasure.